for the market right here in ET now. We're struggling actually to stay put at that 11,000 mark. So completely flattened out in trade, and the broader markets are now beginning to get a little bit soft. So a smidge in the red for the small cap index as we speak, and completely flattened out for the Nifty as well. A tough tug of war between the bulls and the bears playing out today. But the Enforcement Directorate, it seems, is going to widen its probe on Chanda Kochhar. Let's take it across to Ruchi Bhatia, my colleague, and get in more details on this. Ruchi, what's going to happen next?
So, Aisha, we were given to understand how the Enforcement Directorate was questioning Chanda Kochhar over the weekend. And in fact, the questioning went on for 4 days. We are given to understand that the Enforcement Directorate could very well widen the scope of the investigation in the Chanda Kochhar quid pro quo case. We are given to understand that while the sanctioning panel could be next on the radar for the Enforcement Directorate, they are also looking at 4 to 5 more companies which got loans during Chanda Kochhar's tenure. Now, we don't know which are these cases, which are these companies, but the Enforcement Directorate and top sources in the ED have told us that there could be more cases of quid pro quo during Chanda Kochhar's tenure. We are given to understand that apart from loans that were given to Videocon and SR Group, there could be more companies where kickbacks were received to give loans. ED believes that the money trail can be traced back to the Kochhars. They are expecting the prosecution to be filed immediately after the questioning of the sanctioning panel. Remember, the ED has already questioned Venugopal Dhoot. They have questioned Nishant Kanodia as well, who's the son-in-law of SR Group's Ravi Ruya. Also, we are picking up that during the questioning, Chanda Kochhar has been pretty cryptic in her replies, and which is one of the reasons that the questioning has taken so long, almost 4 days, that the Enforcement Directorate had been questioning Chanda Kochhar. We are also picking up that the Enforcement Directorate specifically asked Chanda Kochhar on some of those loans that were given, and in some questions she took over 30 minutes to answer, which means that while Chanda Kochhar has been saying that there were no issues of quid pro quo, but the Enforcement Directorate does not believe her. They believe that there are more cases. Money trail can be traced back to the Kochhars, and they will take this case to logical conclusion. They believe that Chanda Kochhar was very much in the know of the developments that were happening in the bank.
Yeah. In fact, Ruchi, stay with us. We've got HP Ranina joining in on the phone line, and we also have Shriram Subramanian of Gawan on the phone line. Maybe you want some more questions at your end as well. Mr. Ranina, this is not spelling good news from Chanda Kochhar, because like Ruchi is saying that the ED is not quite happy with her line of answering, and they said that her answers were very cryptic in nature.
Which is unexpected line, but I think Chanda Kochhar would do well to cooperate, because otherwise there's a strong possibility that they will move the court for her detention, and the questioning can then take place under detention if it is found that she is not cooperating or not giving answers or being very cryptic about her replies. So I think in course of time, Chanda will have to realize that it's better to give evidence, to cooperate, and not to drag on this matter for too long. It's in her own interest to make sure that she is in full command and she gives whatever is the correct position, because ultimately it's going to be found out. And now, as you know, there are foreign agencies which supply a lot of information. So whether Enforcement Directorate gets it or some other source gets it, she will be confronted with that evidence in due course. And therefore, I think unless she cooperates, it's bad news for her.
Right. Mr. Ranina and Shriram Subramanian, good morning. This is Ruchi Bhatia. Mr. Subramanian, let me come with a question for you. The Enforcement Directorate has been questioning, in fact, they were questioning Chanda Kochhar for 4 days, and now they believe that they will be keeping the sanctioning panel on the radar as well. We are given to understand that at least 4 to 5 more companies which got loans during Chanda Kochhar's tenure also gave kickbacks to the Kochhars, and the money trail can be traced back. In terms of the timeline, I mean, help us understand how soon can the ED file prosecution in this case?
Is that for me?
Yes, Mr. Subramanian, this is for you.
Okay, so I think the timelines can be 3 to 6 months, depends on what the investigation agencies unearth. And obviously, one would like to see them follow one trail. I mean, rather than have multiple trails and not get to any conclusion whatsoever. So that is the thing.
Right. Mr. Ranina, let me also come to you with a question. The ED is open to the idea of questioning Chanda Kochar again. Does that mean that the noose is tightening and the ED has with itself, a lot of material to ensure and to make sure that the prosecution is filed in this case and that Chanda Kochar, if guilty, is brought to book?
Yes, I think so. I think the ED must be having enough evidence collected by some various sources, and therefore they want to, confront that evidence, put that evidence before Chanda Kochar, confront her with it, and therefore I feel that it's not in the interest of Chanda Kochar to try to give evasive answers. It's better to come up clean and to make a full disclosure. And maybe even, they cooperate with the authorities to get a lower sentencing if that is possible. So certainly the mood is tightening around her, and she has to be properly advised to cooperate. And if she doesn't do that, then I think it's going to be really bad for her in the coming days. And once they are members of the steering committee, those who also sanction the loan, again, question, then a lot of other skeletons will come out of the cupboard.
Right. Mr. Ranina, just stay on the line with us. Mr. Subramanian, let me come to you. What does it, on a larger scale, tell you about the governance in various banks? How big a concern is it? Because Chanda Kochar was one of the top bankers in the banking space, and now the enforcement directorate is pretty sure that the money trail can be traced back to her family. I mean, what does it really say about the governance structure and how weak they are?
Oh, definitely there is this element which the bank has itself has admitted that the conflict of interest seems to be apparent. And so the board also was can be suspected to some extent of not doing its duty. So from that perspective, I think, the governance was quite weak in terms of this one. Now, if there is any aspersions cast on other members of the committee, credit committee, then obviously that is another angle to it.
All right. On that note, Shriram Subramanian and HP Ranina, many thanks for taking your time out and speaking to us at ET Now. With that, it's back to you, Aisha.
Thanks, Ruchi, for joining us and taking us through the latest on that case. As our guest said, noose does seem to be tightening, and looking at now the way forward and how the ED is going to file that prosecution as well. All right, let's